Warren Buffett once said, "The worst investment you can have is cash." That sounds strange, doesn't it? Most people think saving money makes them safe, but Buffett sees it differently. You don't need a six-figure salary to build wealth. You need the right habits. The truth is, some of the richest people didn't get there by earning more. They learned how to make their money work for them. In this video, we'll break down Buffett's 10 timeless wealth rules, the same principles that have helped thousands escape the paycheck-to-paycheck cycle and build lasting freedom. Let's start from the bottom of the list, with the most misunderstood one of all. Number 10, the hidden cost of playing it safe. Cash feels safe until inflation steals it silently. Most people believe saving money in the bank means security. It feels responsible, safe, mature. But in reality, that safety has a hidden cost. Every dollar sitting still is quietly shrinking in value. Think about it. If inflation runs at just 3% a year and your savings account pays 1% interest, you're losing 2% without even noticing. That's like watching your purchasing power melt a little more every month. Buffett calls this the silent tax on the cautious. Because while your balance looks the same, what it can buy slowly fades away. Groceries cost more, rent creeps higher. The same dollar buys less, and less, and less. Now multiply that over 5 or 10 years, and your safe savings start costing you thousands. Meanwhile, inflation isn't just numbers on a chart. It's the reason your grandparents bought a house for $50,000. And today, that same home costs $500,000. Buffett's warning is simple. Money that doesn't move dies slowly. It doesn't mean you should never hold cash, only that idle money is wasted potential. Because while the poor see cash as security, the wealthy see it as a temporary tool, something to use, not something to hoard. They let cash rest only long enough to find its next job, an investment, an opportunity, or a seed for growth. So, yes, holding cash feels safe. But safety without growth is just another form of loss. And yet, Buffett himself still keeps a portion of his wealth in cash. Why? Because while inflation eats away at idle money, the right amount of cash can be priceless when opportunity appears. That's what we'll uncover next. Number 9. Why Buffett still keeps cash. The world's greatest investor still holds cash, but for one reason only. Warren Buffett doesn't keep money in the bank to feel safe. He keeps it there to stay ready. Because in Buffett's world, cash isn't protection. It's potential. He once said, "Cash combined with courage in a time of crisis is priceless." That's not a metaphor. It's a strategy. When markets panic, when stocks crash, when everyone else is selling, Buffett is calm and liquid. He can buy great businesses at discount prices because he isn't trapped waiting for loans or forced to sell other assets. That's the power of liquidity, the ability to act when others can't. Think of cash as dry powder, useless sitting in the barrel, but lethal when the moment is right. Buffett keeps billions on hand at Berkshire Hathaway, not for comfort, but for control. Control means never being desperate. It means never letting someone else decide your future because you ran out of money at the wrong time. He once said, "The worst investment you can have is cash, but you always want enough so that nobody else can determine your future." That's the balance. Not zero cash, not all cash. Just enough to survive storms and seize opportunity. For most people, that means keeping 3 to 6 months of living expenses in liquid form, savings, money market accounts, or short-term treasuries. Enough to protect you when life hits hard, but not so much that inflation slowly eats your future. Cash, when used wisely, isn't a prison. It's a launch pad. It's what separates the prepared from the panicked. But once you've built your safety net, there's another silent threat waiting. And this one doesn't just slow your wealth, it reverses it. Number 8. Debt, the silent killer of wealth. Buffett fears two things: leverage and liquor. One clouds your judgment, the other destroys it. Debt, especially high-interest debt, is the enemy of financial freedom. It looks harmless at first, a small balance, a temporary fix. But it grows faster than most people realize. Because debt compounds too, just in the wrong direction. When you owe $10,000 on a credit card with 20% interest, you're paying $2,000 a year just to stand still. That's not investing. That's donating your future income to a bank. And the cruelest part? Compounding interest doesn't care about your intentions. It only multiplies the math. Buffett once said, "If you're smart, you don't need leverage to get rich. If you're not, it'll ruin you." He's seen brilliant people lose everything because they borrowed to live, to invest, or to impress. Debt gives you the illusion of freedom, until it takes it away. When your income goes toward payments instead of progress, your money works for someone else. Every month, your potential is siphoned off in interest. And the longer it continues, the more you build wealth, just not yours. Buffett's rule is simple. Don't risk what you have and need for what you don't have and don't need. Pay off high-interest debt as fast as possible, because the moment you stop paying others interest, you can start earning it yourself. And once your money stops flowing outward, you can finally make it flow upward. Number 7. Pay yourself before you pay the world. Don't save what's left after spending. Spend what's left after saving. It's one of Buffett's simplest lessons, but also the one most people ignore. Because saving isn't about numbers, it's about discipline. Most people wait until the end of the month to see what's left, and there's always the same answer: nothing. Why? Because spending expands to fill the space you give it. Buffett flips that logic on its head. He treats saving as a bill to himself, a non-negotiable payment due every month. Before taxes, before bills, before anything else. You pay you first. It's not about hoarding money. It's about proving you can control your impulses long enough to buy freedom later. Financial independence doesn't begin with earning more. It begins with keeping more. The rich automate their savings the way others automate their expenses. They remove the emotion, the excuses, the "I'll start next month." Each deposit builds a habit, and every habit builds momentum. Buffett once said, "The chains of habit are too light to be felt until they are too heavy to be broken." Good habits trap you in progress just as easily as bad ones trap you in debt. Start small. Even 10% of your income set aside automatically creates a pattern of growth. Over time, the consistency matters more than the amount. Because every dollar you save becomes a soldier that works for you day and night. And when you've built that foundation, when your safety net starts to feel solid, it's time for your money to stop sitting and start moving. Number 6, invest in what you understand. If you don't understand it, you're not investing, you're gambling. Buffett has repeated that lesson for decades, but few truly live by it. Most people chase what's hot: crypto, meme stocks, AI startups, hoping to strike gold before everyone else. But Buffett calls that speculation, not investing. Because when you put your money into something you can't explain in one sentence, you're not managing risk, you're creating it. Buffett's rule is simple. Stay within your circle of competence. That circle doesn't have to be big, it just has to be clear. If you deeply understand one industry, one business model, or one investment type, that's where your edge lives. He once said, "Risk comes from not knowing what you're doing." It's not about avoiding risk altogether. It's about avoiding ignorance disguised as opportunity. For Buffett, that means buying companies he can actually understand. Coca-Cola, Apple, American Express. Businesses with simple products, strong brands, and predictable cash flow. He's not trying to outsmart the market. He's trying to outlast it. He doesn't care what's popular. He cares what's profitable and understandable. The same rule applies to everyone else. Don't buy a stock just because someone online said it's the next big thing. Buy what you can explain, how it makes money, why it will still exist in 10 years, and what makes it durable. If you can't answer those, you're better off waiting. Because understanding gives you conviction, and conviction keeps you calm when the market turns red. Buffett's fortune wasn't built on chasing trends. It was built on patience and clarity. And yet, even after mastering every kind of investment, Buffett says the greatest investment he ever made wasn't a company or a stock. It was something far more personal. Number 5. The most profitable investment: yourself. The best stock Buffett ever bought was named Warren. And that's not a punchline. It's the foundation of everything he teaches. Buffett says the greatest investment you'll ever make isn't in real estate, crypto, or the S&P 500. It's in yourself, because no one can tax it, steal it, or devalue it. And when you compound your skills, your returns last a lifetime. He invests in 3 things: knowledge, communication, and health. First, knowledge. Buffett reads 5 to 6 hours a day. Books, reports, newspapers, anything that sharpens his judgment. He once said, read 500 pages every day. That's how knowledge builds up, like compound interest. Every page adds perspective. Every insight adds leverage. The smarter you get, the fewer mistakes you make. And in money, avoiding mistakes is often more powerful than chasing returns. Second, communication. Early in his career, Buffett feared public speaking so much he nearly turned down opportunities to teach. Then he took a course by Dale Carnegie, and it changed his life. He says that certificate is the only one hanging in his office because learning to communicate made him unstoppable. If you can't communicate, he said, it's like winking at a girl in the dark. Nothing happens. And third, health. Buffett often jokes that if you got one car for your entire life, you'd treat it with extreme care. Well, he says, you only get one body and one mind, and that's your real engine. Without energy, discipline, and focus, no amount of money matters. Self-investment is the ultimate compounding machine, because its returns multiply across everything else you do. When you grow your value, opportunities find you. When you master yourself, wealth follows naturally. Because once you grow your value, money stops running away and starts chasing you. Number 4. The power of long-term thinking. Our favorite holding period is forever. That one line explains more about Warren Buffett's success than any spreadsheet ever could. Most investors chase quick profits, trying to outguess headlines, time the market, or flip the next big trend. Buffett does the opposite. He doesn't see time as something to beat. He sees it as his partner. Compounding only works for those who wait, because wealth doesn't grow in days or weeks. It grows in decades. The longer you stay invested in good assets, the more your returns begin to generate their own returns. That's how the rich quietly multiply wealth while everyone else jumps in and out of the market. Buffett calls compounding the 8th wonder of the world. It's the simplest math most people never master. Patience multiplied by discipline equals exponential growth. He's owned some companies for over 30 years, collecting dividends and letting value build naturally. When markets rise, he celebrates patience. When markets fall, he celebrates opportunity. He doesn't panic when prices drop, because he understands that the short term is noise, but the long term is truth. He once said, "The stock market is a device for transferring money from the impatient to the patient." And he's spent a lifetime proving it. Time is the ultimate leverage. It rewards consistency, not speed. Most people overestimate what they can earn in a year and underestimate what they can build in 10. Buffett does the reverse. He thinks in decades, not days. But patience isn't passive, it's strategic. Because waiting only works when you're prepared for what comes next. And that's the catch. The market doesn't move in straight lines. Even the most disciplined investors face fear, uncertainty, and chaos. Patience only works if you can handle the storms. Number 3. Why Buffett welcomes market crashes. When others panic, Buffett shops. That single sentence captures the mindset that separates investors from speculators. Most people see a market crash and feel fear. They see red numbers, headlines screaming recession, portfolios shrinking. And they sell. Buffett sees the same thing and smiles, because he knows that fear creates mispricing, and mispricing creates opportunity. He once said, "Be fearful when others are greedy, and greedy when others are fearful." It's not arrogance, it's discipline. He understands that emotion destroys returns faster than any bad stock ever could. During crises, great businesses often trade at panic prices. While most investors are running for the exits, Buffett's walking in with cash, buying quality assets at a discount. That's how he built positions in companies like American Express and Goldman Sachs during financial meltdowns. Not because he predicted them, but because he was prepared for them. He treats fear as a signal, not a warning. When everyone else loses their nerve, Buffett keeps his, and that emotional stability is his real superpower. He doesn't let market noise dictate his moves, because he knows the crowd will always swing between two extremes, greed and fear. And if you can stay calm between those two emotions, you'll always win in the long run. To Buffett, crashes aren't disasters, they're sales. Moments when emotion pushes price far below value. He waits patiently, stacks cash, and buys when everyone else swears they never will again. That's how he turns chaos into compounding. But even in downturns, even when billions are moving through his hands, Buffett lives with surprising simplicity. Because his secret isn't just how he invests, it's how little he needs. Number 2, wealth is built on simplicity. Warren Buffett lives in the same house he bought in 1958 for $31,000. No mansion, no fleet of cars, no private island. And that's not because he can't afford more, it's because he doesn't need more. In a world obsessed with luxury, Buffett proves that real wealth isn't about upgrading your lifestyle. It's about simplifying your life. He calls lifestyle inflation the enemy of freedom. Because every new expense becomes another chain, another bill that demands more of your time, your stress, your energy. Buffett understands a simple truth. Money buys choices, not things. When you live below your means, you buy back your time. You create space to think, to act rationally, and to seize opportunity when it appears. He still eats breakfast at McDonald's, drives himself to work, and keeps his routines simple. Why? Because complexity drains focus, and focus builds fortune. He'd rather own businesses than boats and compound capital instead of clutter. Buffett once said, "If you buy things you don't need, you'll soon sell things you do." The rich stay rich, not by spending like they're rich, but by thinking like they're free. Every dollar not spent on status becomes fuel for future freedom. And every time you resist lifestyle inflation, you strengthen the habit that truly compounds: discipline. Simplicity isn't sacrifice. It's clarity, knowing what matters and cutting everything else. That's why Buffett still smiles in the same modest home. He already owns the one thing money can't buy: peace of mind. And that brings us to the final lesson. The mindset that ties every rule together and turns wealth into something that lasts forever. Number 1. The real secret: make money serve you. Money is a tool, not a master. It's meant to serve you, not own you. And that's the truth most people never learn, even after they've earned it. Warren Buffett doesn't see wealth as a scoreboard. He sees it as freedom. Freedom to choose how to spend his days, who to work with, and what to ignore. Because the ultimate return on money isn't luxury, it's autonomy. Real wealth isn't measured by how much you can buy. It's measured by how little you need to keep your peace. When your money works for you, when it earns while you sleep, you stop trading time for survival and start trading it for purpose. That's the shift Buffett made early in life, from chasing money to mastering it. He learned that money amplifies who you already are. If you're disciplined, it makes you freer. If you're careless, it makes you trapped. So he built a system where every dollar has a job, and every decision serves his long-term vision. He doesn't let ego or envy drive his moves. He lets principles and patience do the work. Because at the end of the day, wealth isn't about owning more. It's about needing less. It's about designing a life that feels rich even when the numbers don't scream it. Buffett once said, "If you don't find a way to make money while you sleep, you'll work until you die. But if you learn to make money serve you, you'll finally wake up free." So, if you've made it this far, you already think like an investor, not a spender. Remember, pay yourself first. Invest in what you understand. Stay patient when others panic. Keep your life simple and let money serve your purpose, not the other way around. If you found value in Buffett's timeless lessons, hit subscribe and share this with someone who needs to hear it today. Because wealth isn't built overnight, but it is built one wise choice at a time.